Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we are here to continue our spooky season focused content with 10 scary horror movies that you've never seen. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. Alright, so 10 scary horror movies that you've never seen, or maybe you've seen them, forgotten about them. For whatever reason, these aren't talked about that much for the most part, but these are definitely worth your time. Now, I don't have these in any kind of rankings. This is just 10 recommendations of movies that kind of get overlooked, but are super good, and in some cases, really, really scary. So let's start out with one that's just kind of fun. This one is from 2016, and it's kind of a throwback. They try to really go a throwback. They set it in 1989. It's set on Halloween night. It actually spawned a sequel that had a much bigger budget, but I'm talking about 2016's The Barn. Cool cover here, the old retro VHS cover of the movie, and it's a group of kids on Halloween. They're trying to enjoy their last Devil's Night, their last Halloween night, and it gets interrupted because they take this tour into a cursed barn, and they let out these demons, and these demons, like, one possesses like a scarecrow look to it with a pumpkin head, different kinds of, it has a lot of fall and Halloween vibes, cornfields, barns, you know, that farm feeling. And then it's set in the 80s as well. Kind of get a look here at, like, this is like I don't know if you can see it because I got my camera set different. After an update, I noticed that it was pulsing sometimes on some of the videos, so you may not get the product showcase as well on here. But right here, the cover of this, you can actually see what the monsters are going to look at like. You have like a miner looking monster. You have the scarecrow. It's fun. It's campy. It's cheesy. It's got some pretty violent, rough kills in it, though. And the sequel, like I said, they had much more of a budget. It's got Joe Bob Briggs in it. It's got Linnea Quigley. It's got Diana Prince, Darcy the Mail Girl. I believe it has Doug Bradley in it. This is a pretty well stocked. This also has Linnea Quigley in it, too, and she's in the second. But it's pretty well stocked here if you get the physical media copy of this. Blu-ray is the height you're going to get on this. I love those VHS covers, but The Barn, definitely worth checking out. All right, next up on the list is one that I don't have on physical media. I don't have it on VHS, you know, none of that stuff. I don't own it. But it is one that I really like, to the point where it inspired a little bit of a script I wrote called Diner 27, because it's about these people that are all in this isolated, dusty roadside diner. Now mine's a little different, but it does involve a isolated diner. And it's basically about to be the biblical end of the world. Adrian Padalecki, or Adrian, nope, not Padalecki. That's Jared Padalecki. How do you say her name? I can't remember her name. Adriana. She played in Friday Night Lights TV show. I can never remember how to say her name. But she is pregnant in the movie, and her child is, like, they find out, is the key to either saving the world or damning the world. And the biblical end of the world starts to happen. These people are in this diner, and you've got a loaded cast here. You got Dennis Quaid, Charles S. Dutton. The name of the movie is Legion, and it's Legion for We Are Many. It's a biblical thing about about demons. So these demons are all hell's demons are being unleashed on the end on the world to end the world in a biblical fashion here, and standing in their way is this group of people at the diner that are there to protect this girl and the Archangel Michael, who is played by Paul Bettany. Really, really good movie. Lots of demonic scenes, lots of epic, like, end of the world type warfare. You got, like I said, Dennis Quaid, Charles S. Dutton, but Lucas Black is in this movie. Tyrese Gibson's in this movie. It's a pretty well stacked cast for Legion. I just don't hear people talk about it a lot, and I think it's a really fun movie. Like I said, it inspired me. It definitely has some scary moments, and that whole like biblical style end of the world is much scarier to me because I believe in that. So it's like it's a much more scary. You also have Kevin Durant in this movie as another angel who's trying to fulfill the Revelations prophecy of the world ending. So there is a lot going on here. Definitely worth your time is 2010's Legion. All right, next up on the list is one from 2001. This is that very late 90s, early 2000s. People want to say, oh, it's got the CW characters in it. Well, this film stars David Boreanaz, who played Angel. Then he went on to play on Bones and then SEAL Team 6. And, you know, so he played on Buffy and Angel. I love David Boreanaz. I always thought he was a cool character. Basically played Batman. He was actually offered the role by Christopher Nolan. The word is, he said in an interview, to play Batman in Batman Begins. But he said he'd already been playing Batman all those years as Angel. This is 2001's Valentine. And hopefully you guys can see that when I'm holding up there. I'm going to have to see how the new setting does on the camera. But besides David Boreanaz, you have Denise Richards. Katherine Heigl is in this movie. And this is kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a different take on My Bloody Valentine in a way. It's the killer is a Cupid masked killer, so like he wears like a Cupid mask, and he's killing these select people. He's not just killing at random. That all plays into the twist at the end with David Boreanaz's character, with Denise Richards' character, stuff like that. So it's not who you would expect as the final girl in this movie necessarily, or the final guy. It has some twists. It's fun. It's a little sexy. It's a little stylish. Of course, you know, they had to get Denise Richards in a bikini in the movie. But this is a tale about, like, revenge in a lot of ways. So a lot of fun. Valentine got a little mystery to it. I just never hear it talked about, and I really like this movie. I actually think this is one that would look really good in a 4K. All I have is this old DVD snapper case here. This was bought from a place called Video Hut, which was an old, like, mom and pop type place a long time ago, probably 24 years ago. I've had it ever since, but this one is definitely worth your time. Check it out. Valentine. Got a hell of a cast. Really well made. Good twists. Good story. Good kills. I don't know what else you would want, but it's one that you might have missed or you might have forgotten about. Valentine. Okay, next up on the list is one that I don't have, but I've talked about this several times before on the channel. It's just been a while. I'm talking about 2015's Howl. Now, this is a British werewolf horror film, and I just think it's outstanding. I stumbled on it a while ago, a couple years ago maybe, on streaming. Watched it, and I was like, holy shit, because I love werewolf movies. Super good movie. Very intense, violent. Now, you're not going to see a lot of names or faces that you recognize in this movie. You will see, what's his name? Brett Goldstein, better known as Roy fucking Kent from Ted Lasso. You will see him briefly in this movie. But even if you don't see a bunch of people you recognize, this movie is really well acted. It's a group of strangers. They're taking like the train from one city to the other, and they got to go through this rural area at night. It's like the overnight train. The train breaks down, and outside there, The wolves are literally at the door. They come in, they start attacking people. It's a survival horror mixed with werewolf horror. And there is no like sexy seduction. There is none of that stuff with the werewolves at all. They are there to kill, eat, and move on. And they are single-minded. Like the werewolf design I actually like. You can tell they don't have an unlimited budget, but what they show is like very disturbing kind of a werewolf and very frightening in certain ways. And they're very violent, very strong. And the acting between these people, they're not a bunch of real well-known actors, but you totally buy it. And that just kind of sucks you into it, and you're rooting for their survival. Doesn't turn out the way that you think it might at the end, and just a hell of a good movie. Scary, fun, worth your time. I'm always going to love me some good werewolf shit, and How delivers it. Check it out. You'll be able to find that on streaming. I do think there is a Blu-ray out there. I think it is region locked, so if you have a region free player, this is one I would love to see get a wider release. It needs more love. Next up is another one that a lot of people hadn't seen, because I hadn't seen it until like a month or two ago when Daniel over at Cobwebs talked about it being a movie that really scared the hell out of him. And when I popped it on streaming, I did the old try before you buy. This movie jacked me up so much that my heart rate was so high, my anxiety, I have anxiety issues, really. A lot of creative people do for some reason. But I was so anxious and my heart rate was going so high that I had to pause the movie. And that's because it's very realistic. It's based on some true stuff. And I am talking about 1992's Ghostwatch. Hopefully you can see that. This is the BBC original. This is the movie that shut down their switchboards, basically, because they got over 1 million calls, people watching it, thinking it was true, just totally scaring the shit out of them. It got banned off of BBC because of that. I didn't walk, I ran to Orbit DVD, and my thoughts are with you guys at Orbit DVD. We got hit by the hurricane here. I know you guys got it on a just epic disaster level there. And shout out to Orbit DVD and everyone affected by the hurricane. But I ran to Orbit DVD, found this great Blu-ray by 101 Films. Like, I would love to see this get a 4K. I don't know, like, because of the style of it, because it's shot kind of documentary new style, I don't know if a 4K would like lift that up as appropriate for it necessarily. This is a nice release right here. I would like maybe one with a little more fanfare, because y'all, this movie blew me away. Something that has been around for 30 plus years, and I just now saw it to just hook me in like this. If you haven't seen Ghostwatch, you must watch Ghostwatch. Now, maybe I over-identify with it a little bit because I'm a believer in things. My family has experienced things in my life, so this is a very true feeling of a way that stuff could happen. And just absolutely, hell yes, you have to watch Ghostwatch if you haven't. If it's one you've missed or forgotten about, put it on your list. Watch it now. All right, that takes me up to another one that I don't have. And this is one I stumbled on maybe 6 years ago on streaming. This is back in the earlier days of A24. And I had no idea what this movie was. I thought maybe it was like a Bigfoot horror, so that's what got me to click on it. The movie is called The Monster. And it stars, I believe her name is Ella Ballantine. And this is a very simple, terrifying concept. A mother and her young daughter are traveling at night in the rain through these back out of the way country roads, and their car breaks down. They hit something, and they're stuck out here in just the middle of nowhere, and there is a monster outside of unknown origin. Like, I spent this whole movie thinking it's a werewolf, it's a Bigfoot. it's a chupacabra. Like, there's no telling what this is, and maybe it's a mix of all of them, but holy shit, the intensity. And just when you think they're going to be safe, no. Like, you think it would be so easy, even in this day of cell phones. They do a good job of explaining why that's not the case and why you can't just get out of here. I had heard in order to get this desolation feeling that they spent most of their money building like basically like a quarter-mile stretch of road in the middle of woods somewhere just to get the full like isolation. I think it is a masterclass on tension building and doing a lot without a huge budget. Now you could say, oh, well, that's a big budget to build a quarter-mile road in the middle of nowhere. Probably for a few $1,000, maybe 5,000 at most, you could probably get somebody to come out there and run you just some cheap asphalt through the middle of woods. You could get out there and clear it by hand. I'm an indie filmmaker. I started thinking of ways this could be done cheap. But then you have to film inside of a car a lot. It's raining outside, which if you're inside the car filming, doing rain outside's not that hard. I've done rain and stuff. But man, the way it is all done is masterful. It's intense. You are rooting for these people. You're pulling for these people. That monster out there, and there is payoff. You see the monster. It's scary. It's original. I like it. I kind of wish it was maybe just a straight out werewolf out there. Who knows? But I really like this movie. I think this is back when A24 was like newer and doing better stuff overall. But really, really worth your time. 2016's The Monster. All right, next up on the list is a movie that is absolutely chilling, scary, a spiraling mystery that's in a small box. And I am talking about 2016's The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Wow. This movie stars Emile Hirsch, Brian Cox. They're pretty much the only two in it for 99% of the time. They work at a funeral home. They're, like coroners and undertakers or whatever. And this body, this Jane Doe, comes in. And it's just the two of them in there at night. So it's very claustrophobic feeling. And you're in a funeral home. And, things start happening. But they continue going on. They're trying to ascertain what killed this person. And I mean, the story just spirals in. The mystery spirals inward on itself as they do like the Y incision and they open up the skin. And there are like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics carved into the body. There are ancient Greek words carved into the body, like Mesopotamian, like cuneiform, like all this stuff carved into the body. There are like these other satanic and like witch symbols. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And the deeper they dive in, the more stuff that happens, the more history they find out. And then it just gets to a point of no return. This thing is a white knuckler. I don't know why more people don't talk about this. This is actually in my 9 films that scared me. This is intense, claustrophobic, scary. And when you start bringing in that history and mythology and like stuff, because I'm an old history teacher and everything, and I'm like all in the Ancient Aliens TV show and all that, you start bringing in some of this stuff and like old folk horror and old folk tales from early America and Europe and stuff like that, and you bring that in, and it just adds this gravitas to it that makes it super believable and puts that what if doubt in your mind. Autopsy of Jane Doe, high recommend. If you have not seen it, if this is one you've missed or haven't given a chance, absolutely check it out. Great performances turned in here too by Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch. Great film. All right, I'm jumping around on my list, so I don't want to make sure I don't miss anything. The next one's one that I mentioned briefly here recently on here, and this is another Kevin Durand film. Kevin Durand stars in this film. I actually talked to him and the director of the film on Twitter about this years ago when I first found this movie, and they were very nice talking about it, very hyped up. This is a very This movie checks boxes for me because it's like that small town terror, that small town vibe, mystery, what's going on. I am talking about Dark Was the Night. And this is set in like a remote, like logging town, or like country town. I think it's in the Pacific Northwest. And this small town is there. It's like wintertime, it's snowing, but this logging company has come in and they cut down all these trees, and they basically awaken and release these demons, these monsters that were out there. Now they're attacking the town. Kevin Durand is, and there's no way out. There's like this blizzard, snowstorm. There's no way out. This one stoplight town. Kevin Durand is the sheriff. They had Lucas Haas is in this movie too. He's like the deputy. And we get to see into the sheriff's background where he's kind of like an anti-hero, doesn't believe in himself. He has to step up, and the town has to try to band together to survive this. Seriously, give this movie a chance if you have not seen it. It has, like I said, that creepy small town, isolated atmosphere. It's got unique monsters. It's got great acting in it, which is not always something you get in horror movies. Absolutely underrated, easily missed film. That's why I had to take to and like talk to the director, and Kevin Durand were super nice talking about it. They were proud of it, and they should be. Check out Dark Was the Night. All right, got just a couple of movies left here, and this one I've mentioned before. This is a sci-fi horror film that turns into much more horror and survival horror and almost like zombie horror towards the end, and I'm talking about Pandorum. This is from 2019. I got this cool Viavision release here, but this also stars Dennis Quaid, Cam Gadit, I can't ever say his name, and who else is in this movie? Ben Foster, I believe, is in this movie. Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead is in this movie. And it says, don't fear the end of the world. Fear what happens next. So there's like basically this space, this massive like city-sized spaceship that is going to try to new colonize another world that is Earth-like world because the world is ending here. And it starts off with like these people, like a crash, these people waking up, like Dennis Quaid. And so two crew members wake up out of a hypersleep. They're all supposed to have been asleep for this journey because it's so long. They wake up out of this hypersleep. They don't know where they are. They don't know what's happened. And so there's this big mystery element. Everything takes place on this, like I said, almost city-sized spaceship. And, man, the twist at the end will blow your socks off. But they find out that there are monsters on board this ship. We don't know where we are, where they are, where it came from, if they made their destination, if they crashed somewhere else, what happened. You're trying to figure out all this stuff while dealing with these new monsters that are like cannibalistic style, almost like Wendigo alien-type monsters. And the twist on them is insane. The twist on the movie... This movie is intense. I don't know why it's not talked about more. Like, we talk about how Alien is scary, and this, like, to me, this blows Alien out of the water as far as being scary. So it leads much more to horror, and the mystery in this, the suspense of trying to figure out what's going on is way bigger than with Alien. And I'm a huge... Alien is in... Alien and Aliens are in my top 25 favorite movies of all time. But this, like, just has more of that just keeps you, like, trying to figure out what's going on. I had to get this awesome Blu-ray set that came out. This is one that's crying for a 4K because it's a very dark lit movie. And, but man, Dennis Quaid is great in this. He's like a hero in this. He's like the hero figure. Like this movie, and Ben Foster, totally worth it. If you haven't seen it, watch Pandorum. It's one that you could have easily missed, but you shouldn't. Put it back here in this nice little case. All right, I have one more for you here on my list. I think I've maybe mentioned this one briefly on the channel, but I am talking about 1977's The Sentinel. This movie is an easy one to miss. You know, Chris Sarandon of Fright Night I always hear him say that, is he's Jerry Dandridge in Fright Night. He's a star of this movie. But this movie's loaded. This movie has Ava Gardner's in this movie. Burgess Meredith's in this movie. John Carradine is in this movie. This movie is loaded with recognizable faces. Beverly D'Angelo's in this movie. Jeff Goldblum is in this movie. There's rumors that the director was a sadistic prick on this, but he got the performances out. Like, he went to a dark place. I don't know anything about it before or after. I know Chris Sarandon said he almost made him want to quit. He was so, like, overly sadistic because of what they were going for in this movie. And it is a truly, like, if you take, I'm trying to take, like, it's got some Rosemary's Baby feel to it, but what this essentially is this woman moves into this apartment building, and she's a model and all this kind of stuff, and the people in the apartment building are very weird and strange. So it's almost got that Rosemary's Baby vibe to it, like I was talking about. But what it essentially she finds out is her apartment, she has been chosen, fated to be the sentinel, the guardian, basically between this world and hell, like the gate between she guards hell's gate. Well, the problem with that is there are a lot of ghosts and demons and stuff that pass back and forth through that, and there are some just simple but terrifying, scary moments in this movie. I don't want to give away like too much. That you could read the back and you get that concept. But she was young, she was beautiful, she was next. So the Sentinel, she's the guardian. These people all, like, it's like she's the last one in on the joke at the party, and just totally messed up. The front, there must be a guardian at the gate from hell, and like if she doesn't fulfill her duty, then hell overtakes the world, basically. And it talks about like this spot, these between the dimensions between here and there kind of stuff that I'm believe in a little bit. And I don't know, it's just very scary. Like, the back of this says one of the best horror films of the 70s, late 70s. An intriguing story and disturbing imagery makes this stick out in your psyche. I couldn't have said it better, because the imagery and like just knowing that is your fate, your lot in life, and if you don't take it, then everyone you know could be damned to hell. Like, it's crazy. It's a slow build, scary though. I mean, it's one of those that's unsettling for a long time. And you may see it again, because this is one hell of a haunted house scary movie. And spoiler alert on a list that's upcoming. But The Sentinel, if this is one you haven't seen, one that you missed, one that you've forgotten about, one you've been meaning to watch, check it out. It is available on streaming if you want to try before you buy. Scream Factory has the Blu-ray out there. You can pick it up through them, Orbit or whatever. I think I got this for like $11. But definitely worth every dime of that, and all of your time. It's not that long of a film, but just loaded with talent too. Loaded, absolutely loaded. And that is my list. Let me make sure I did not forget anything here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is all of them for this time. 10 scary horror movies that you've never seen. Let me know if you've seen them in the comments. I've got some more. That's why I'm having to look. So I may get one more of these out during spooky season. But I don't want to just make all these lists go on forever. So check these out. Make sure that you check out my 31 Days of Halloween Horror Challenge. This is why I left some of these movies out. You got to add these in. I left room for you to add in double features and stuff. And to continue marathons on the weekend, check out that video. And let me know what you think. It is October 1st. Spooky season is 100% here. We've been waiting on this month all year. I love October. It is here, baby. And if you guys enjoy all this, we're spooky season focused right now. But we do all kinds of things here: physical media news, 4K reviews, lists, rankings, all that stuff from a fan and filmmaker's perspective. If this is the kind of thing you enjoy, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. If you want to help support the channel, it means a lot to me. You can join down below at my Patreon link. They let me keep a little bit more of your subscription money, or you can subscribe right here on YouTube. You're going to get the same content on either. I can do a little bit more on Patreon, but you're going to get your name in lights, access to special videos, all kinds of stuff, and I really do appreciate it. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Spooky season is upon us. Bye-bye. I know.